Hi, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers.
And Marcus.
And Marcus with the Perception Trainers. And today we have an extra special video for you. We are going to be talking to you about relationships. So this is actually one of my most frequently requested videos, and I have sort of been avoiding it because I really wanted to offer something of value that wasn't just me talking about what I think about relationships. And so I essentially manipulated my dear partner here into doing this video with me because I actually want to do a video series. So we are going to talk today kind of just about our journey through a romantic relationship, and hopefully there will be some like nuggets of inspiration and wisdom in there that will help you in your relationships. And then later I'm going to bring my sister in, and we're going to talk more about kind of like friendship relationships and like non-romantic relationships. So anyways, so today we have for you our take on romantic relationships and what they take and what we've learned and just some fun stuff and some hard stuff and some good stuff, right?
Tasty nuggets.
Tasty nuggets, okay. So I want to start this video mostly by talking about how there's lots of people out there right now who are saying that like before you get into a relationship you've got to be in this like really awesome positive place where you like know what you want and know who you are and know where you're going, and like you've written your dream partner list and like
figured it all out.
Yeah, you figured it all out. And I just want to say that like, okay, that's totally great if that's something that really calls to you and that's something that feels really authentic for you. But in our case, we were complete messes when we first got together, okay? So like this is like the first thing that I kind of hope to offer is that like you don't have to be in any particularly special place to attract or manifest the partner of your dreams into your life. Because so yeah, like basically when we first got together, I was like a zombie. I was essentially at this place where I had like just kind of like started my recovery from my eating disorder. I had left Christianity. I had moved out for the first time. I was like totally struggling in my spirituality, struggling in my identity, and my parents had just gone through a really like weird kind of separation, and I was just at this place where I was like, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I wanted, I was completely shut down emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually, I would say, and I didn't believe that love existed. Like I honestly was at a place where I thought I was going to be single forever, and that's when Marcus came into my life. So that like that's where I was at the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah, and for me, I was dealing a lot with like anxiety and panic attacks and like fear of the future, fear of just like basically anything I could think of. And when we first got together, I had never really lived on my own.
Yeah.
And like, learning to like take care of myself and like all the needs that go along with being a human, and like, yeah, it was a lot at once, and like I don't think that I would be where I am if we didn't get together at that point. And I don't know if it would have worked out the same way it has if we didn't get together at that point. So,
right.
Things happen for a reason, and it was the best that I think it could have been, considering where we were both at.
Yeah, totally.
When we started.
Yeah. So essentially, we started dating in like June of 2010. And then we moved out of our parents' houses in Calgary, Alberta, in together in Vancouver, BC in September of 2010. So literally it was like, again, mistake number one, we weren't put together in any way. We didn't know what we wanted, we didn't know who we were dealing with a whole bunch of like stuff inside. We were very crumbly, and like our relationship was really like a safe refuge, I think, for the first like probably year. Where it was just like we were in a lot of pain internally, I would say, but it was like we saw something in each other, and that was like what was getting us through. We were just like kind of in the infatuation honeymoon phase, and it was like he could do no wrong, I could do no wrong, and we just wanted to be together.
Yeah.
And so like that was kind of like how we started. We moved in together, and so first so that was like the first crazy thing. Second crazy thing, we didn't know each other, right? We didn't know ourselves, we didn't know each other. And
we knew like junior high us, which
yeah,
isn't anything at
no,
all.
exactly. And then we just dove into like full on commitment, right? Like living together, I just like became his wife, right? Like I cooked, cleaned, I did everything.
Shared bank accounts.
Shared bank accounts pretty fast. Like we just like, we were like, we're a couple now, and like let's do this. And so mistake number 2, we just like rushed right into everything. We didn't wait. And so again, an outside person might look at that and be like, whoa, like that was really stupid. Like you're like friggin' 21, 22 years old,
Yeah.
and you're like making these really permanent commitment decisions that like essentially would make your life really hard if you were to break up. And I think that is actually one of the things that I think made us work out, is that we moved in together. We were in an apartment that like we could only afford if we were together.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was like, Vancouver's a really expensive place to be, and both of us were super young. We didn't have work experience. We couldn't make more money than we were making at the time. So we literally couldn't afford to live without each other.
Yeah.
And then we put our money together, and it was like, you know,
Created codependence.
right, we really created codependency. And like he was relying on me for a lot of the like basic physical needs stuff. Like he didn't know how to like cook for himself or like shop for yourself. Like you couldn't.
Yeah, it was pretty new stuff to me.
Right.
For sure.
Like he went from his mom's house to my house, right? Whereas like I was kind of depending on him for like self-esteem and love and niceness and things that weren't work. Like I was 100% just like bulldog into everything. And so like we basically set ourselves up that if we broke up, it would have been like really hard to break up.
Yeah.
And I think that that is something that actually kept us together through the times where I think other people would break up. Yeah?
Yeah. I would say that it's like something you should strive for.
No.
But it definitely helps to keep things glued through the tough parts.
Right. Yeah. Cause like so that's kind of like what I want to enter into now. Kind of is like the challenges that we've gone through in our relationship, and it's been like, okay, so this is where I think the meat or the fruit of the relationship really comes to the surface. Is like once you get through that honeymoon phase, and you know they can do no wrong, and they're just so perfect and beautiful, and like how could everyone not be so in love with my blinded by hormones, all you're doing is making out. It's like once you kind of get through that phase and you start to like realize like, whoa, he's got some like pretty serious anxiety issues and he doesn't know how to take care of himself, and he's like dependent on me, otherwise like if I leave, like I honestly thought if I left him he would like starve to death. Like I truly thought that inside my heart. And then, you know, same thing with me, is like, you know, now that this kind of love bubble is wearing off, I'm remembering how much I hate myself and how much I hate my body and how much I don't like my life and how much this isn't what I want, and I don't want to be a housewife and I don't want to be all these things, but I don't know what I do want to be. That's when the rubber really kind of hit the road for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like once the initial stuff sort of started wearing off and like all the pretty sparkly dust was blown away, and like uncovered all just like the craggly bits underneath. It was tough for sure, because like I like couldn't help myself really in terms of like my anxiety. Like I had no tools for that, and like I was like, you know, staying up all night and like losing so much sleep, and like it was starting to affect like my ability to go to work, and like my self-esteem, again, same with you, was just like really low, and like I just like didn't believe in myself, and like I was scared of death like every day, and it was not conducive to a thriving relationship at the time.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so like, and now I would say like looking back, what I think was like essentially I had the tools to help him through his anxiety, right? And like that, because that was something that I had dealt with in my life, like learning how to kind of like take control of my own mind and like power through stuff and like not quit and like see my own strength and my own power, I think was something that I had like developed in myself on my path. And I was able to like help him with that. And then he was able to help me like soften up and like learn kind of how to love myself. And like he was always offering me this just like unconditional like adoration, I would say, right? Like you just like, you loved me. And like for the first, I would say like year of our relationship, I was like, what is up with this guy? Like what, like why does he love me, you know? And so like essentially what it was is that like we were both each other's like biggest trigger of our stuff, but also the antidote to our stuff, right? So that's where I would just say that like that's like the crux of a monogamous committed relationship. It's that in my experience, in our experience, and like kind of what I've seen in other people, is like when you have that like magnetic attraction to someone, or like you're in a relationship and you've decided to enter into this relationship, there's something there that's like obviously like you have lots in common and blah 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 and everything's like sexy. And then once that falls away, you're probably gonna notice that your partner absolutely triggers you in the most hardcore possible way. Cause like, so for instance, like I was like the worst thing for him at the time for his anxiety, because what he felt he needed to feel good in his anxiety was stability, right? He just wanted a routine. He wanted to get up, go to his job that he knew that he could do, come home, know that there was going to be food in the fridge, and we were going to live our little life every single day the same, blah, blah, blah. And I basically got to a point where I was like, I'm going to die if we do this. I can't. Like, we need to move to Thailand, right? So
It's just like, stir it up.
Right?
Stir that pot.
Right? And so basically for the first for the couple of months before we moved to Thailand, he was essentially having like full blown thinking he was gonna die panic attacks like once a week.
Yeah, like I had to like walk out of work multiple times.
Yeah.
Just to like try and keep it together.
Right.
It was just like the most hectic part, I think.
Yeah.
Of our entire relationship.
Right? And so like, and then when we were in Thailand and like all the way after that, he was triggering in me all of my like fear of being abandoned, essentially. Like I just like kept in a way like almost trying to like sabotage our relationship to prove that he was gonna leave me so that I could feel like safe again, right? In this like whole big fear that I had that eventually he was gonna see who I really was and not like it. And so like for a lot of our relationship, I think I hid who I really was. And I like just slowly started to kind of like show myself. And for a while, I think Marcus was more just like I like you no matter how you are, but like this is not who you were when we got together.
Yeah.
And so like I say, so he was like a huge trigger for me in that like allowing myself to be my real self and to actually like show what I wanted and be who I am, and like this kind of eccentric, eclectic, very not normal, stable kind of person was like, right, we were triggering each other, and then like I say, in the same way we were each other's medicine, because what he really needed to cure his anxiety and his self-doubt and all this stuff that he had, which were his biggest issues, was seeing himself through stuff.
Yeah, like basically you threw me into so many situations where like there was a lot of opportunity for failure.
Yeah.
And like my old self was like, I'd rather not even like get into that.
Yeah.
Like not even give myself the option of failing, but like I went through it enough that, you know, every time you fail, it seems less and less scary.
Right.
And like you believe in yourself more and more.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like what really got me over my anxiety is like moving to Thailand, just like totally throwing everything that we had currently away, both physically and like in terms of like career and stuff like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And just like going across the world is like, once you do that, like nothing else is really scary.
Exactly.
And like basically once we left Thailand, it was just like I haven't really had that anxiety since. So like that, yeah, you triggered it so hard, it like triggered it right out of me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was just, I was forced to deal with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't be how it is today if we didn't go through that.
And I feel like he did the exact same thing for me with my like femininity and like how shut down I was and like how I just didn't want to be myself or show myself. I feel like you're still doing that for me.
Yeah,
like, you're
like,
still
just being open to like having fun and like, you know, more fluidity as opposed to like rigidity in terms of like
planned.
because like I initially benefited from like having a routine and doing things every day, and you kind of got back into that because that's always how you were, just
Right.
like really structured and organized.
Yeah.
But I think now we're kind of both learning to be a little bit more fluid
Right.
and like a little bit more dynamic in terms of, you know, our lives and
Yeah.
our emotions and stuff like that.
Exactly. Because like I think that without Marcus, my life would be like Groundhog Day. Like really, it would. It would be like you could set your watch to my schedule because that's how I used to be, and it was like sucking the joy right out of me, right? And you triggering me in that you were so not able to like be so organized and like do exactly how, like it used to frustrate me so hardcore. Like why can't you just be on my schedule? But like I say, like now that like you triggered that in me, and that was like really frustrating, but it enabled me to learn how to like let go a little and loosen up and like have some fun and enjoy life and not be so friggin' like.
Yeah, and like I think that's a big takeaway from all of this is like, if you're being triggered by the person you're with and like they're bringing out stuff in you that you hate, that's not a sign of that you need to run away from that.
Right.
That's a sign that no matter who you're with, those things are gonna come up. So you might as well like use this opportunity to like deal with it.
Exactly.
Because it's clearly not serving you. And
Right.
so you gotta just power through and like believe that they are gonna be there for you on the other side, and it's gonna be so much better
Exactly.
when you get through it.
Exactly. Because like I would not be the person that I am today without having him. Right. Like if you had not triggered me, if you had not supported me, if you had not been there with me through all of this, I wouldn't be doing this. Like for sure. Like I don't know that I ever would have gotten the confidence to like put myself on YouTube twice a week.
Yeah, and there's no way that I would have had the confidence to like try and take my job like anywhere in the world. Like multiple times we've gone through that situation of like me having to step up and being like, okay, like we both want this life where we can kind of do whatever we want, and like I just need to ask for it.
Yeah.
And like the first couple times I asked for it, it didn't happen, and
Right.
it was really hard. But every time you went through it, it was easier until it finally happened.
Right.
And now we like this is our life, so I would not be here if you didn't push that side of me for sure.
And I would just say that like the last thing is that, you know, like when we got together, we did not have like a cohesive vision for our lives.
No.
Right? Like we built that
We
together.
knew what we didn't want.
We knew what we didn't want. And so like I think more or less I knew internally what I wanted, but I wasn't brave enough to admit it or own it, whereas you didn't know.
Yeah. I hated thinking of the future
Right.
and planning. It was too frightening for
So
me.
so we have essentially built our lives together.
Yeah.
We built our vision together, and we're expanding into our vision more and more. And I think that because we didn't have that foundation of like, I know what I want, you know what you want, and we have like this unified goal, we know how to like compromise and like change and shift and grow and learn with each other based on what's changing and learning and shifting in you and in me. So we don't need to like, we're never gonna come to this place, I don't think, where it's like my vision and your vision don't line up, so we need to break up now. Because we know how to alter what both of us are doing to serve both of us.
Yeah, so we're both happy.
Yeah.
Because like just because you have different things that you want doesn't mean that they both can't work in the same vein.
Exactly. So we figured out how to make two lives work together, and I think that that's really a magical thing about a relationship. It's not about us both being the same person. It's that we're very, very different, and
you can't learn if you're both the same
exactly. And that's what I think is the biggest thing. Like we triggered the shit out of each other, and that is the best thing ever. And we just stuck with it, and we created this life for ourselves where we can both have completely different visions sometimes, and still make it work together because his stuff expands me, my stuff expands him, and rather than either of us being like, I'm right and this is what I'm doing, we're like, okay, how can we like learn from each other? Okay, so we're out of time now, so thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.